Hi, Maribel. Thank you so much for taking the time out today and joining me in this podcast episode. Really excited for learn more about you and your journey. How are you doing today?
Good. Thank you so much, Rastel, for inviting me. I admire your journey, and I'm very happy to be here and to share what I've learned so far.
Yeah, the pleasure is mine. You coming to the show. Yeah, super excited to learn more about you, your journey. You had like a different journey. Everyone got like a unique journey. This is our podcast about
Yes.
like sharing individual journey so anyone can learn more about it and also get inspiration from the journeys. And everyone's journey is like different for obstacle and point of view. So yeah, before we get into like your full story, I would love to know how you get into like a coaching other entrepreneurs and business owners, and did you choose the career?
Mm, no, she or it shows me. I think that would fit better to how things happened because,
Mhm.
well, you go to university and that's what we learn from society. You need to study something and get a profession, and from that profession then that's what you do most of
Yeah.
your life, the rest of your life, or whatever. And I studied 5 years of medicine. I will can tell you later a bit more about that, but I didn't finish that. That was not my calling.
Mm.
And what I studied at university was literature.
Right.
Um, so literature and coaching, I mean,
Totally
where's the
different thing.
connection?
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, they um but the thing is, what I discovered is that at university, what you actually need to do there is to learn how to think, learn how
Mhm.
to solve problems, learn about yourself. And
Yeah.
then careers just come. They just come and choose you if you're willing to listen and to follow that calling. I think there are lots of people who refuse to listen because they think they need to do what society expects from them,
Yeah.
and it just feels comfortable. I don't think it feels easy or it feels right, but it feels comfortable, and we like that. Also, it feels like the rest of your community or your family, it's what they think you should be doing,
Yeah.
so we stay there. I started after I finished my studies. I mean, I was 30, and even at
Wow.
that old age, I didn't really know what I was gonna do. And I have so far, what I have learned is that doors open and doors close,
Yeah.
and they tell you what is the path that you need to go. So when I finished my studies, I was offered to start teaching language at the university. I started teaching Spanish at university. I started working as a business English trainer, and I did that for a long time, and I was very enthusiastic about it.
Yeah.
But at some point, I just get bored of things.
Yeah.
At some point, after I've done them, I'm someone who needs a lot of inspiration, and when I've done something like for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years, it's kind of like, okay, I've done this enough. What's next? What's new? So that's something that I have observed
Mhm.
in my life. And what I saw is in the training. So I started just focusing on training on company, and I did intercultural communication, effective communication, leadership. And what I saw there is there's this lack of awareness that women have, that they can achieve a lot more, that they are putting that they are themselves in their own way.
Yeah.
And that's when I started realizing, you know what, I recognize these women, this young women. This is me 15 years ago. I
Mhm.
need to do something about it. So I started I thought back then I was coaching,
Yeah.
but I wasn't. I was giving them advice. And that's, yes, I think lots of people confuse consulting with coaching.
Yeah.
Because they come to me and they say, okay, Maribel, tell me what I need to do. And we're like, no. I mean, what you're asking me, if you're asking me for advice, then what you want me is to mentor you or to be a consultant, but that's not coaching. So it was after I did my first training in coaching that I realized that what a coach does is to improve your thinking, to help you think in a more effective way, or to help you think from a perspective that helps you see things in a way that are more useful for you.
Yeah.
When you give advice to someone, you're not helping them do that. You're just telling them what you, from your experience or with your experience and from your perspective, what you would do.
And no one likes that, right? When you're telling someone to do something, they don't really like it. No one likes to be told off. Isn't it true?
No. Unless they ask you, hey, Ressa, what would you do in my situation? If people explicitly ask you for advice because they think that you're knowledgeable in a particular area, then by all means, go ahead. That's different. But no, giving unsolicited advice is something that actually is, for communication, quite damaging. Because I could explain a little bit more. It has to do with how our brains work, and it has to do with the SCARF model from David Rock. When you give unsolicited advice, you are reducing people's status and autonomy. That's why we don't like that. So that's how I started my journey as a coach. Yeah,
which is really great. And like now you're inspiring other entrepreneurs and business owners, helping them like where they want to get. And I can totally agree with you. Like you mentioned earlier when we had like a conversation. So you said when society puts on our head, like this is the career path you need to choose and something we need to do, and we get into like a kind of comfort zone, even though we're choosing the career, or could be like we have like some kind of goal, probably a doctor, engineer, wherever, like being a teacher. And after that, wherever you achieve, your friends or family members, they think like you not achieve anything, even though you could be multimillionaire, could be like you have your podcast show over millions of followers, or influencer, even though you could be great business coach. They're gonna think like you are a failure in their eyes because you didn't achieve where they expected you to do, or probably get overwhelmed on the success you're having. So it's always like you have to find like your inner self, like what's calling you having in terms of like achieving your goals. And a lot of people, even though think like if you're 30 years old and haven't found your calling, it's too late or getting too old or something. But it took you like a long time to find yourself, like who you want to be, right?
Who I want to be right now. And this is just a work in progress. This is not who I'm going to be when I'm 60, when I'm 70, and hopefully when I'm 80. I don't know how long my chance in life here will be. That's why it's important to use it. I admire people who, when they're 18, they know this is what I want to do. They go and study that, and then they start the career. They meet one partner, and this is the perfect partner, and they have 2.5 kids or whatever, and this like pretty live White House with a picket fence. I know some people whose life at least appears like that to me. You never know what's happening, backstage. Fine. Beautiful for them. That's not my case. And I know, because I've spoken with lots of people in my coaching practice and in my podcast, there are usually
ups and downs,
like these ups and downs, zigzag, going back and then going forward again. I think that's what's normal, and it's okay to normalize it. It's I think what's most difficult for a lot of people, and also it was for me,
Yeah.
to listen intently to what it is that I need and what it is that I want to achieve. The thing is that with socialization and with our desire to comply to society's rules,
Yeah.
we think we need to do this or do that to get married when you're 25. I remember, I think it was like a week ago, I saw on LinkedIn a post of a 26, I think she was a 26-year-old Indian woman,
Right.
who was posting. She put a picture of herself. This is me, all dressed up, going to the wedding of a friend, and I'm going alone. I'm not married, and I don't have a boyfriend. I have a great career. And she was just expressing, or just being empowered of who she was, because in the Indian society, but I also know it in the Latin American society, there's this expectation that when you're 25, you have to be married. When you're 30, you need to have 1 or 2 kids. And there's this pressure that you need to do this, that is just so overwhelming, that it would be a pity if such a wonderful young woman like that would feel that because she doesn't have that yet, she's not successful, or she's not enough. These expectations are centuries old expectations that we need to get rid of them. It's okay to reinvent yourself when you're 45. It's okay to do an MBA when you're 60. It's okay to fall in love when you're 55, or to get divorced when you're 65. It's okay. Everything is okay. All these rules that someone said at some point, and that we learn as we are growing up, because our parents tell us, or our society tells us, school tells us, that's just rules. You don't need to follow them. Somebody said that, but they don't have to be your rules. And the thing is that what we need to do is and that's the hard work, to uncover layers and layers and layers of rules that somebody else put out there in the world, and that many people are living by. So what's easier? To live by those rules, even if you know that's what you don't want, but you're doing that to appease someone, to make someone happy? Or is it easier to just say, no, this is not how I want to live my life. I'm going to do it differently.
It's a good thing, like you brought up the situation, like you're saying about Latin America society and Indian society, like you put the pressure on the woman, and it's easier said to done, like ignore the fact, or do whatever you like to do. But especially when the whole society against you and whole environment against you, is really, really hard to do that. Because when it's not only like a 1 or 2 person is saying, it's the whole community saying. Like for example, a young woman from India, like I'm original like Indian Bangladeshi culture as well. I know I've seen it like with my sisters, even though my wife's, it's not only their parents, their siblings, it is their like uncle, aunties, it's their friends itself. Even though friends got married at age of 22, and she thinks it's right for her friend to get married 22 and having their kids by 25 or 30, or like have kind of like a settlement, or like you buying a house, you have to have a XY this kind of model Mercedes or BMW car by age of 30, otherwise you're not successful enough. Or if you haven't gone to holidays for certain countries, 4 or 5 countries by age of 30, then you're not lived your life enough. So that kind of situation is really, really tough to ignore, because the person you brought up with, like your family members, your cousins, your friends, everyone's brain is in a way is like conditioned, like it's an old mentality, like hundreds of years old, like you mentioned. And it's really, really tough. So you have to mentally build a situation. It's not like a 1-day thing, like you can get out. You can't really ignore your parents, you can't really ignore your uncle and aunties. You have to be in a social person, and in the chaos, you have to live there. Like she have to go to the wedding, and a young woman you mentioned, and she's gonna find one of her aunties or one of her friends or
Yes.
one of her cousin gonna mention, oh, when you getting married or when are you having a child? Even if she says otherwise, then another conflict, right? And you don't want to ruin that kind of relationship. So you have to have like a kind of mindset. It doesn't really affect you, and you can't ignore it at the same time, right? You have to have like a balance in between. Otherwise, you're going to lose your friend circle. You're going to lose your friends and family. And it's easier to set like whoever negative to you, just leave them or ignore them. But eventually, it's going to affect you more than them, right? Because you're going to be in a place like there is no one else for you.
Certainly, it takes courage to do what she did. For going back to this example, the beauty of using that courage is that you are living aligned, because you are not, if you have a boyfriend but you're not sure if this is the right person, should you marry this person just because you're 25 and then it's time to get married? Because the thing is, when you need to think of when these rules were made, probably women were not able to provide for themselves. They didn't have a career and they couldn't get a job. So the best way to get a security was get a guy whose parents are farmers and have a lot of cows or a ranch or whatever, depending on what part of the world we're talking about. So marriage back then was a financial contract, a survival contract, and not based necessarily on wanting to be with a person. And that is something that now in the 20th century and now in the 21st, it's old. Most people want to be in a relationship not because this person provides, but because they want to be, that's their soulmate or whatever you want to call it. So what I'm thinking, what can you do if you are in that situation that you don't want to break relationship with all your family? Because especially also in those countries, family is very important as a support network. And you probably like those people too. And this is not something that they came up with. They learned that too. These are all learned behaviors. So you could have, if you're a woman like the woman in our example, you could have a sentence that appeases these people, like the auntie that, and when are you getting married? Probably next year. And, you just kind of like, and you repeat that like a broken record. Yes, I know, I understand. Probably next year. Oh, yes, I'm looking for a boyfriend. Probably next year. Because it doesn't stop there. If she gets married, then the next question is going to be, do you know what's the next question is going to be, Russell?
When you're having a child.
Exactly.
When you have a second one, third one, it just carries on. And and me and my wife, we've both been there because we've been married now just over 3.5 years now. And we had a child like after about 2.5 years later. And first year is like everyone, like when you're gonna have your child, when you're gonna have, and we're looking for. And me and my wife, we had like a mindset in the beginning, like whatever people say, we're just gonna ignore it. We just focus on what we need to best. So everyone negative talk or anything, whatever they're saying, like it doesn't really bothering us. So we have to create a mindset this way. You can't really ignore people. People's going to be there. You're gonna be like visiting people's house. They're gonna come to you. They're gonna call you, and you can't ignore like what they saying because you can't control other people's opinion. And we have to have like a filter in our ears, in our brain. So wherever words coming through, we need to have a clear what we want. If we want to have a child, the age of 27, 28, we know what we're going to have. We know when we're gonna get married. We know when we're gonna buy a house or buy the car, when is right for me, right? And after that, whatever comes through, you just ignore the fact. If something is like a positive and it's gonna good for your well-being, good for your life, just take that and just put everything else on the bin. We have to have like a recycle bin, like how we have in a computer. Wherever you don't want to accept it, just put it on your spam folder on the bin, recycle bin, and keep what is important, put it on a marked folder. So we should have like some kind of mentality, and I do that all the time because there is so many negativity it had in my lifetime. And being in an Indian origin
Yeah.
background, there's always starting from my career. My brother wanted to be like a health and social care worker, and I wanted to be accountant. So I tried to change my career so many times, but he wouldn't let me. Then I talked to my college tutor, and she said, like, don't talk to your family, and just I'm gonna swap you over to a different class and different everything. You just tell him like you're doing well and everything, and I wouldn't mention it either. So we did that. Like there is no point in we having an argument. And then I became a primary school teacher and everything, and that gone past. Same with starting a business. I never said it to anyone. I'm starting a business. I did it behind the scene because everyone like thinking is a failure starting a business. And that grew like even the multi-million-dollar business right now. But still people think I'm not achieving enough. So I'm just ignoring. I'm not doing it for you. I'm not doing it for anyone else. It's just for me. And I don't have to get approval from you just showing my bank balance or telling them how much I'm making a month or yearly to get approval like you are successful or not successful. I don't want any kind of validation. As long as I'm happy, I'm paying my own bills. It doesn't matter. I'm a billionaire, millionaire, wherever it is. So yeah, everyone should have that kind of filter.
Beautiful. Yeah, that shows just from your side very healthy self-confidence, self-esteem
Yeah.
too. And from what you're saying, what I see is also that you have created your own resiliency network. In this case, with your wife, that you are have a similar mindset, and then you are together more or less against this. Not really against them, but just kind of like
Yeah.
pushing against
Have some
and
kind
not
of boundaries, right? Having some kind of boundaries. Yeah.
exactly
In the upfront. Yeah.
The other thing that might help is thinking all of these people that are family usually love you, or
Yeah.
their intention is good.
Good for you. Yeah.
Their intention is that you do well, and they think this is the way that you do well. And that is the difference between counseling or being a consultant and coaching.
Yeah.
Because a counselor listens to your situation and thinks, okay, I think what you should do is this, but is this person in your shoes? Does this person have the upbringing and your life story? No. And
Yeah.
that's why a coach doesn't give advice. A coach helps you think, okay, so what is the challenge here? What is the first thing that you want to achieve? And just ask questions to help you think for you, and that you are able to confidently choose your answers to
Yeah.
whatever challenge it is that you have.
Yeah, that's great. So yeah, we last we spoke about, you mentioned like you had like a divorce as well. So in terms of like a relationship was advised, like what is the like a best way to find a partner or lifestyle partner with your own experiences we should have before we get into like a serious relationship?
From my experience, let me say first this. A divorce does not mean that you have failed in any way. It just means that that relationship served its purpose.
Yeah.
It's important that you understand and take the time to realize, what is it that I need to learn from this?
Yeah.
Life puts you lots of situations, and every situation, even if you think, oh, this is such a bad situation, I don't want to feel like this, I don't want to be in this, wherever you are, it's exactly where you need to be, because that is what will take you if you're listening and if you're paying attention, if you're living in awareness, that is what will take you the next step forward. So even though it's important to grieve that a relationship is over,
Yeah.
you can be sad about it, but you don't have to think that you're a failure, because these things happen. We also, it's also about this ideal that we, with stories, Cinderella, and all these beautiful stories that, oh, and the prince came and saved her, and happily ever after. And happily ever after,
The problem starts there, right? When the prince comes to your life, then problems start actually happens.
In waking up together every day for 10 or 15 years, that's when you really see, do I want to is this the person that aligns with who I am right now? And the thing is that if we evolve and our values or what's important for you changes, and then this person cannot fulfill what you need them to fulfill in your life, then it's okay to say, this was great, this was beautiful, but now we need to go separate ways. This is something that I have, when I got divorced, I was 31. This was like 14 years ago. Back then I thought, oh my goodness, I have a 6-year-old girl, and this is such a disaster, and I messed up my life, and I'm doing this to her, and I am choosing myself. And you know what? That didn't serve me. That approach of looking at it that way was not useful. What did serve me was to think, I need to be a role model for my daughter, so that she can learn that she needs to express her needs. She needs to mark her boundaries. And if a situation is not good for her, then you need to move on. And that's okay, because you need to, it's important to be compassionate. But this is something that women usually exaggerate on, including myself. That we think so much, and if I do this, what would their reaction be, and I need to do this for my children, and I need to do this for my husband, and we come like really last in that list. And that's not good. I think we need to learn first. We need to learn from men from that, because I think I don't like generalizing, but generalizing, I think that most men have an easier time thinking, what do I need? What do I get from this? And if this is not serving me, I need to change something. And I need to move on. And women make their lives, as I said, including myself, so much difficult. Like, oh, I feel ashamed, or I feel guilty, or what if I do this? What are people going to say? And people are always going to say something. Everyone has an opinion, and everyone will judge if they want to. And you know what? It's okay. It's their right. People can judge. And the thing is that to understand that is apart from you, and that is out of your control. You have zero control over what people think, and whatever judgment or opinion or anything that they say, it says more about them than about you. Whatever judgment that we pass, we are implicitly saying, my values are this, and this is what I think, and I think what you're doing is wrong, or that.
So let's talk about so after you got out of your divorce, and how did you put yourself together in terms of emotionally? Did you had to get any kind of counseling, coaching, or anything?
Yes, absolutely. So one thing that was for me very important, I spent 1 year going to therapy. So
Mm,
yeah, counseling. And that was very helpful because at that time I was not, well, obviously not where I am now, which is
yeah.
good. Because I mean, with every experience that we have, we grow and we change. um what I had to learn from that is that my needs are important, and if someone
Mm,
else is ignoring them, that I need, it's my responsibility to make it known loudly. And what I did in that relationship during my, well, from 23 to 31, what I did was I didn't say anything. And I was
right.
kind of like expecting, "Well, this person should know what I want or what I feel." And then, come on, how ridiculous is that? I mean, that's what I'm thinking
Yeah.
right now. No one can read.
Their
um
mind.
yeah,
Yeah.
no one can read your mind, and unless you express what you need and what you want. So wherever, in any kind of situation, could be with your partner, but could be a friendship, could be at work with a colleague or your boss, whatever, wherever a relationship is at, that's also your responsibility,
Yeah.
because you said something and did something, or because you didn't do something or you didn't say anything. For, yeah, if something is not as you wanted, you know what I mean?
Mm, yeah,
So
definitely.
this, that's something that I learned, that because at the beginning, when I decided, okay, I'm gonna do this, this is really hard, but and I don't even, I didn't even have any idea how I was gonna, how I was going to manage. I left that house with my daughter. She was 6, and I was holding her hand, and we were walking out. I'm like, oh my goodness! I moved and lived for 3 months with a friend. I slept on a sofa for 3 months before I got my first apartment at
Wow.
31. I had 700 euros in the bank, and I thought, I just had this trust. I trusted, this is what I need to do, and something will come up.
Yeah.
That helped me. Something came up, or jobs came up, and things moved in the direction that I needed to. But I had to take that first jump, which was like really scary. But fear is one of the emotions
Mm,
that especially women, but probably also men, uh, try to run away from.
yeah.
Fear of not being liked, fear of not being accepted, fear of being criticized, fear of failing.
Yeah.
And the problem is that if we make choices based on fear, we are losing out of so many experiences. If you do whatever it is that, because in your heart, your values tell you, your instinct tells you, this is what you need to do. But we
Mm,
try to put that volume really down, because that's going to be difficult, because I'm afraid and I don't want to feel afraid. um when you do it in spite or with the fear of whatever
yeah.
it is that you're fearing, then you come to this other side of the garden where things get green, because then you are doing things that create alignment in your life. When I left my ex-husband because I wasn't feeling fulfilled in that relationship, even though I was really scared and I really didn't know how I'm going to solve all these things
Yeah.
and take care of this little girl, you manage. I had to sleep for 3 months on a sofa with her, and then I got an apartment, and then I didn't have a lot of money, but somehow humans are so resourceful. You are
Yeah.
so resourceful. We somehow manage, and opportunities come your way.
Yeah.
Once you trust and then you go into that direction, then just things start falling into place. And that's
Yeah.
just first initial like big energy of taking that first step, and then the rest is easier.
Yeah, it's so true. Like it's eventually everything works out, right? You just have to
Yes.
do the action and have like the courage to move forward. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able
Yes.
to do that wherever you want
I,
to achieve.
I'm convinced that there is in the universe, in our lives, I mean, whatever kind of belief or spiritual belief that you have, I am convinced that there is synchronicity in life.
Yeah.
And something is happening here for you because something else somewhere else started, and it's all energy, and maybe we don't see it because we're just humans, we can't see everything, but when you are open-minded and your heart is open, and you have decided that you are going to be connected with your values and be authentic with what you need,
Yeah.
then things fall into place. That has been my experience, even though it's not easy. Is not always easy. But whenever people tell me, oh, Maribel, but I don't want to feel grief, I don't want to be angry, I don't want to be afraid, then I tell them, well, that's tough, because the only people who feel nothing, they are 6 feet under.
Yeah.
So what do you prefer?
Yeah. To live in this world, you have to go through all of the emotions and you have to experience every single thing.
Yes, absolutely. And emotions are useful.
Yeah.
They keep us alive. If you are in a dark, if it's dark and you're walking in the forest or wherever you are, and something starts barking at you and you see there's danger, if you didn't experience the core emotion of fear, you would not be able to react with the fight or flight reaction to save yourself, either to punch the person that wants to mug you, or to run away really fast.
Yeah.
You need that. It's a survival instinct. So these emotions are important. And the other thing is that we are labeling them with something. When we feel fear, what are the symptoms that you feel? An emotion is just a series of physiological symptoms, like your hands get sweaty, your heart starts beating faster, and you have like a general feeling of you feel unsettled, right? Okay.
Yeah.
When you are excited because you haven't seen, I don't know, your girlfriend who's arriving at the airport, and you haven't seen her in 3 months, and you're totally in love and you're really excited about this, what do you feel? Is your heart racing? Are your palms sweaty? Do you feel that you can't sit down and your stomach feels funny?
Yeah.
So what's the difference between excitement and fear?
And fear. Yeah.
It's just the name that we put. It's how we label it. One is connected with something positive, love and excitement of meeting someone you're looking forward to see again. And the other one is something negative that we have learned, I don't want to feel this. But in the end,
same
emotion.
Something
that,
yeah.
Yes, in the end, you feel, your body feels the same. And that's something like really useful if you, for example, are a little bit, get anxious, if you have to give a presentation.
Yeah.
And one good technique to reduce the anxiety is to stop saying that you're afraid. You start saying, I'm excited about this. I'm full of energy. I'm really excited about this. And that changes, it's a little mind trick that changes your approach to a situation that you wanted to run away from, but you can't. You're kind of like trapped. I need to do this presentation. If it's something at the workplace, and then you connect it with something positive, say like, I'm excited and I'm full of energy and I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, taking it as an adventure, it makes it easier, the process.
Yeah.
Well, the night I went through in the storm, and I was driving through because my navigation system put me in a road I never drove in my life. It's like
Okay.
uphill like this, and it's a proper storm, and there is no another car get past you. That road was so narrow, and yeah, I was really fearful because I'm having my child in the back and my wife as well, and I don't know where I'm heading to, and there is no way like I can reverse back because I thought like there is a shortcut. This is a way, but it took me a long ways. It's like a 10 miles I drove that kind of road, and there is a big puddle. It's flooded, and everything is a countryside road, no street light, nothing, and the road
Oh,
is not even like concrete. It's like soil and proper ground, and it's that,
okay.
and there was a storm in the nighttime as well. So I took it as an adventure inside me. I'm telling it, it's like something interesting going to happen. And I drove down everything. And my son is like 10 months old and he starts singing behind the car. That gives me more motivation to do that.
Ah,
And yeah, like we went through it, and after that, after driving 10 miles, we gone to like a main road and street light is there and everything is fine. But during the process, what I actually learned is like we oftentimes put in a situation we never expected. But when you got to the situation, we always have to trust the process. Also, like if I had a chance, I would make the U-turn and come back to the main road, but I have no other option. I have to keep going, otherwise stay in the storm. So I have to keep going till as I can far go, and then like it would be adventure. Even though I get stuck, I get stuck. There's nothing else I can do. And took it as an adventure. That was the fear went away. And same with the life. I think like if you take it as an adventure and keep going, moving forward with your life, there's good things will eventually happen. So yeah, there is a lesson to learn.
beautiful. That's great reframing of a situation that you can't change. And it's
Yeah,
kind of like, okay, life, what are you trying to show me here?
yeah,
What is the lesson here to learn? So great. Yeah.
yeah. So thank you, Maribel. We are running out of time. This podcast, it was a great learning from you as well about your journey. So yeah, those who's listening, if they want to reach out to you, learn more about you, where's the best place to find you?
I am daily posting on LinkedIn. So that's the social media where you can find me.
Mhm.
And you can also find lots of information of my story and how you can work with me on my website. And that is maribelortega.com.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. So thank you so much for coming to this show, and I appreciate your time. I wish you best of luck with your career, your business, and your life. And you have a wonderful this year, and hope you achieve your all goals on everything vision you have.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Russell.
You're most welcome. So that's a wrap, guys. You know how to find Maribel. Go check out our website. Also visit our social media platform like LinkedIn and reach out to her if you want any kind of consultation or help from her. And yeah, till then, talk to you. So stay safe, stay healthy. I'll talk to you next episode. Take care, everyone.